From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and Chief Digital Strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Scott Desgrosseillers with me, and Scott and I are going to talk about marketing attribution and wicked reports. This is one conversation where numbers mean it all, and you want to sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. The SDM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, the digital marketing concierge that helps you put all your marketing pieces together. We are your marketing experts. We are also your WordPress security experts and know how to lock down a website and protect yourself from bad actors. So contact us at Stunning Digital Marketing today. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I'm here with Scott Desgrosseillers from Massachusetts. Hey man, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Always a pleasure. You know, the best thing about doing the pods, and we were just talking, and you've done some, is it's all about the people you meet and get to talk to, isn't it?
It is, there's a plus the pe people that are hosting a podcast are on them. They're out in the world doing something. They're in the arena, so it's a little
Yeah,
more interesting to talk to them.
yeah. It's been fun. I don't know if I was telling you either this chat or chat four. We're bearing down on episode 600, believe it or not. So I am momentum milestone,
Congrats,
and
man. That's an
yeah.
achievement sticking with it that
It's
long.
been it's been a lot of work. We started in the middle of COVID because I was bored. Yeah. And I haven't been able to stop. So there you go. Today we thought we'd talk a little bit about marketing attribution, what you do, and we got to throw AI into the mix because whether we like it or not, can't have a marketing conversation without talking about those two words. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you got in this crazy world.
Sure. My background is I had a degree in finance. I saw the movie Wall Street. I wanted to be Bud Fox.
Oh,
And then I
did you?
realized I actually wanted to be a stock trader.
Uh-oh.
And so I got into that. This was back in the mid late 90s. I was a NASDAQ day trader. And I really like the systems aspect of it, using data to predict stock prices and then trying to bet on it,
And a
basically.
tough job
Just
too.
legalized gambling. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I realized I got more into databases, and then I was moonlighting, helping set up CRM systems. And a friend of mine, this is about 12, 13 years, 12 years ago, selling lobsters online and not having any luck on Facebook. And I said, there's probably some analytics we can look at. And there wasn't anything for his size business. And so we
Oh, yeah.
hacked together something. It was just kind of a fun puzzle. I liked using data to solve puzzles is like my favorite thing to do. So
Me
I
too.
was doing it. Little did I realize what a puzzle marketing attribution was going to become. It wasn't
Yeah.
as straightforward as I thought, but for him originally back then it was. We tracked his Facebook performance. It didn't do well when he spent on the ads initially, but if he looked at it with a 30-day lens and he did lead gen, even though he was e-commerce, he was making 10 to 1 on his money. And that was because he had great emails and he had a good offer and he's doing a lot of things right, but he didn't have the tracking. He thought, hey, throw up an ad to buy some lobster. People are going to click and buy. He's going to be rich. And it turned out he had a customer journey back before people talked about that. This was like 2013. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of got
Well,
sucked into marketing attribution because then word spread from him and then a couple people heard, wanted me to track for them. And the next thing I knew, I was like, I think I'm going to give this a go. So I kind of fell into it. Wasn't really
yeah.
strategic.
Well, now let me stop you there from now. You just said something really compelling. He was running all these ads. He was doing well, but he had no tracking in place and no marketing attribution, so he didn't know really where it was coming from, right? And that to me is like boom words because how many times have you and I seen companies and they go in and say, my ads aren't working. My ads are a mess. My business isn't doing well. And they're throwing money at this thing called online ads, whether it's Google ads, Meta ads, Reddit, or some other site. and they have no clue what's going on. Isn't that so common out there?
It is common, particularly with anyone that's not a household brand, which is most
Yep.
brands,
Yep.
and that has anything they're selling over like $50. Once there's more
Yeah.
consideration,
Yep.
that is most brands as well, because it's tough to make a living selling online for something for 20 bucks. You got to get on
Yep.
Amazon, compete on price. So for
Yep.
anyone out there, and it's because the tools they have at their disposal, Google Analytics 4, Meta, the ads reporting inside of Meta and Google or Microsoft or what have you,
Mhm.
they're not designed to give you clarity. They're designed to give you more money, to get more money out of you if it's an ad
Yeah.
platform. It's Google Analytics 4. It's designed for some things, but not as clarity for advertisers. It's just not set up that way.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Should you be running Google Analytics 4 or should you be running one of the alternative analytics platforms?
Yeah, it depends on
Just
your
to throw
goal.
fire on,
Yeah.
just to throw
Well,
fire
it
on the.
depends. If you are spending at least $10,000 a month,
Yep.
Google Analytics 4 is not going to get the job done unless you're paying someone thousands of dollars a month to make it run correctly and maintain it correctly. Thousands of dollars. Because the people that are really, really good with Google Analytics can make it sing. Those people are in demand and they're getting a couple $100 an hour minimum because you got to start from your actual sales and leads. They have to be pumped into Google Analytics
Mhm.
4. Then you got to do all sorts of manipulations, which I've seen super experts do. I used to try to do that way before I created an attribution platform and then a bunch of help from others on my team. But there was no transparency of the data. So whenever things didn't add up, you couldn't drill in and see why it was reporting what it was doing. And that just drove us all nuts. So
Yep.
that's why I said,
Yep.
hell with this. If I'm gonna be reporting on stuff and getting paid on it, I need to at least know why. And that led me down the
Yeah.
path of first party data attribution.
Yeah. And we also got to remember Google's in business for one reason, not to help you, not to help me, but to help themselves, right? So,
Well,
like,
think of
let's
ad
be
fraud.
fair.
Ad fraud's
Yeah.
tens of billions of dollars. You run an ad and you'll get, if you're running an ad of any significance and even if you're saying, hey, I want to get paid for leads, people will go in and fill out fake leads, book fake calls to get paid
Yeah.
from Google. And I was a
Yeah.
Google premium partner for a while. They
So
just
was
finished
I.
that program. And I'd have people at pretty high, high up for that. Okay. I'd be like, hey, we're getting robbed of our money. And you can't, they're not very incentivized to fix that problem, no matter what they say.
No.
They're just
All they're incentivized is to keep turning their ad revenue business, which turns out into millions and billions of dollars every year, and we know that.
96 billion they made last quarter.
Yep. And I was
Unbelievable.
reading I was
Revenue.
reading another article that says, interesting enough, Microsoft on the Bing side is actually increasing on the ad side lately. And I don't know if there's truth to it or not. I got to go do some research. And I think part of that would be is in the corporate world. So we're not talking the entrepreneurs, the small businesses. We all know Edge is probably the number one browser, whether they want to admit it or not. And we all know Microsoft has this tool called Copilot, like it or not. And that's forcing Bing ad spend to go up, not down. Is there any truth to that? Do you know?
We see people have a lot of success with Bing, a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It's more about volume and it depends on the market you're targeting. The older
Yep. Yep.
demographic, they just use Bing, they have it, they don't care. And Edge browser is fine. And I'm a huge PC guy. I've been using Chrome and I'm just not going to switch. I got my plugins, I got it the way I like it.
I
But
I'm
Edge is
I'm
nice
ex
though. There's nothing wrong with Edge. So people that buy PCs that are in their like 60s or whatever, they don't care. They just use it.
Yep. I
And it
think
works fine. So
I
we've
think
seen people definitely get good ROAS on Microsoft.
yeah.
That
I think
seems to be a cap on what they can spend and keep that
yeah.
in general,
I
not
th
every case. That's just what I've
yeah.
seen.
I think of my mother. My mother's 80, 81 this year. She's very for her age, she's really good on a computer. I'll be really frank. So she doesn't fall into the typical seniors where they use an iPad or a Chromebook. She actually uses a PC and she fires up, even though Chrome's on her PC, I can guarantee you Edge comes up 99% of the time. So you're exactly right. And if it works for you, like, don't fix it. And
Yeah.
what we have to realize as marketers is if your target audience is older, you probably want to be using Bing to some degree because that's where we see a big increase in Bing users. So you need to
Mhm.
really know what your target audience is, don't you, Scott?
100%. Because one of the key things why ads fail, you'll have this great offer, but if your traffic's not right, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're attracting the wrong clicks in for whatever reason, you could be banging your head against the wall, agonizing over your landing page, your upsells, or whatever, and it might just be the click itself you bought was wrong. You got to
Yeah,
clean
it's
that up first, as the very first thing before you look anywhere else.
so true. Marketing attribution. So most people, most digital marketers do not even understand it. So do you want to break it down real quickly for us on what that means?
I think the easiest way to describe it is marketing attribution is an accurate scoreboard of how your
Yep.
marketing's performing. And the
Hmm.
scoreboard then has a ton of nuance and complexity as you start looking at the scores. Think of
Yeah.
it in terms of sports. What's your favorite sport? We were talking hockey.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
say
go hockey.
or basketball. We can use basketball. Basketball would be a good
Yeah.
example. Let's say basketball game, the score is 120 to 100. Well, if you were on the losing team, you lost the game. So your most important score you lost. But if you're the
Yep.
offensive team coach on that basketball team, well, you got 100 points. Maybe your offense is fine, and it's the defense that's the problem that's giving up the 120 points. And so
Hmm.
attribution, like offense, defense, and then individual player stats, all the
Yep.
different stats in sports, it's the same thing with marketing attribution. Based on what you're trying to do, we have all kinds of stats, and my job as an attribution platform service is to limit that scope of all. We have a couple hundred data points if you count our trends per click. Well, we
Hmm.
have all this, but what you really need is just a couple of key metrics that'll get you to the outcome of what you're trying to get for whatever you were trying to do, whatever your intention was in that marketing. And so we have all
Yep.
these different ways of keeping score, which is attribution models, and we fit them to the goal you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
New customer
Yep.
acquisition. Well, then out of all your traffic, half of it's probably repeat people showing up. And we
Yeah.
don't want to look at them if you're trying to find new, because the new people new to your brand behave very differently. So that'd be a different
Of course.
scoreboard, different data, different trends. And so we mine all these, almost like the matrix, all these numbers coming down, and we just coalesce it into just what's going to enable you to crack the code on growing in whatever the intention of that marketing is. We have to try to support it with the right data so you get insight that leads to the outcome you're going for.
Yep. Can you share like what would be your top two or three metrics you should be looking at?
Sure. I think new customer acquisition, you want
Hmm.
to look at new
Good.
customer acquisition costs, NCAC,
Yep.
which means you have to take all your universe of customers, just look at what created new customers and look at those journeys and look at stats related to there.
Hmm.
For cold traffic, you want to look at new visit percentage. How many of the clicks are new? You're targeting
Yeah.
cold traffic, you'd think they'd all be new. They aren't. The platforms don't they can't always identify who's new and repeat for some
Yep.
reason. But then also AI enabled campaigns, particularly on Meta, there's settings there. Hey, we will reach out beyond your audience to help you hit your goal.
Hmm.
It turns things
Hmm.
into retargeting. And that's
Yeah.
fine if you're bottom of the funnel. But if you're trying to find cold traffic, that's not good. Return on ad spend is still valuable as long as it's from a trusted source.
Yep.
Conversion rate, clicks to customer conversion rate's an important one. I think I'd start
Yep.
with those. Those ones can get you a long ways if you're using them right and you have accurate data.
Mm. In terms of ad spend, it's interesting. I think the average ad spend in the last couple of years has gone up, not down, right? I
It
don't
has
think
because the
it's
costs for the clicks alone have gone up. So yeah, you've had to
and
kind of
and part of that I think is from what I've seen, big companies are jumping more and more into digital ads. We're talking the Fortune 500s. They're advertising. I saw some online ads earlier today for of all people Coca-Cola, and when those guys start jumping in and they've got millions of dollars to spend, it's going to push the entrepreneurs cost way up. So it's just really interesting.
yeah, I remember going to a couple Google conferences where some of their case studies would be household names and department stores spending $1 million a week. And so the thing is that if the algorithms are optimizing on massive ad spend,
Yep.
and you're saying, and they're given a job, the AI is given a job of the bidding up machine learning, a combination of the two, get me more sales. Well, it learns people that are already warm or hot for the brand and that are heavy in market. That's who I got to target. And there's only so many of those. So I mean, the
Mhm.
marketer's job now, you got to shift to, I'm, I'm talking our wheelhouse is brands 3 million to 30 million in annual
Yep.
revenue. There's
Yep.
more that we serve. They need to get top of the funnel dialed in because the AI is not good at that, and everything's optimizing towards bottom of the funnel. You got to keep filling top of the funnel with brand awareness or cold traffic, initial
Person.
first click. So for return on ad spend, first click return on ad spend is really important. The
Yeah.
clicks that drove
I would
the advertising that got the people to first click on your website that eventually bought. You
yeah,
got to
I
tie
would
that
agree.
together, which is not trivial to do, but you need that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Um, so your platform, go back to marketing attribution. You've got all these indicators. You said over 100. How do you break it down? Like 100 indicators for any business is daunting. So how do you kind of break that down and say to this is what matters, this isn't what matters, etc.
So we orient everything around a campaign's goal. And based on
Yep.
that, we have templates that shrink down the data set, only capture the trends that are important. And then we have AI, if enabled, that will then, based on your custom KPIs that you're trying to hit, will advise you on what to do. So it'll read all the data points. But if you're just looking at the data without any AI support and approaching it yourself, it's a set of pinned views that are very hyper focused on goals. That's what
Yep.
helps make sense and drives. Then rather than you looking at 80 numbers and all this road and like getting lost in there, it's focused on, hey, what was I trying to do? What was my whole point of launching this campaign? And then the data should support that goal. So that's the
Yep.
approach we take.
And I would bet your platform probably saves that marketing head like hours of time, I would think, right? In trying to break this
We
down and do
estimate
the
2 hours a
analysis.
day. We think two
Okay.
hours a day it saves. If you're going to do everything pristine data analysts, a perfect framework approach, which we put a framework in there so you don't we match it. A lot of marketers are good with strategy. They're not good with measurement strategy because it's a whole
Yep.
separate discipline. And there's complexity there that matters, that makes a big difference. And it's why our numbers will be different than Google Analytics 4 or inside of Meta's. And it's the differences you're paying for. You're paying for the fact we're going to have a different lens and view of the world that's going to make you more money. Because otherwise, why are you going to pay us if we're not making you money? There's no point getting more data
Yep.
that just confuses you. So that the bar is high for our data and for how you're going to use it. So we orient everything
Yep.
around that. We need to get
And
you lift.
I would actually encourage anybody to use an alternative solution because as somebody's done this a long time. I find Google Analytics 4 awful and awful and awful. So I make no bones about where I sit, right? I just think when they made that change to 3 to 4, I just shook my head and said, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never gotten fully on board with GA4. It's just not good enough.
No, I agree.
So I
Um,
don't really bother with it anymore.
yeah. How much AI do you really have going on under the hood? That's always an interesting convo. We can't get through this stuff without diving in. So
Sure. So we're about to I mean, our whole value prop is about to be based on a framework that I've developed called the five forces. And then when I did
yep,
this framework, which is basically a measurement strategy that adopts to your marketing strategy, but without too much thinking and heavy lifting. But once we got it done, we're like, man, the AI should just run this system for people. And that led us on a year-long odyssey. And now the AI is a massive component because the number one reason people would leave Wicked Reports is they weren't using the data enough. So why pay? Because generally we can tracking's not an issue. We can get the data, we can get you good data. That's
yep.
not hard. Not hard anymore for us. Took a long time to make it not hard. So at that point, then it's like, okay, now the work begins. How are you going to sift through all this and make use of it? And that's where AI now will have basically it generates each day a one-page bulleted report, maybe less than that, maybe like 15, 20 lines that tells you what to do for each campaign. Should you scale it? Should you chill, which means leave it alone, or is it learning still, or should you kill it if you don't fix something? So we tell you that, and then we give you the supporting data why. And then all you got to do is go in and make the changes to your ads, which is what you should be paying an attribution platform for, to give you insights on a platter. Just, hey, we don't even have to go look at the data. Here's your prescription of what to
Yeah,
do.
here it is. Yeah.
So that's where we've
And
moved. The AI runs all that, and it's finally better than me or my product manager can do, or my team. We feel like it's better because it happens right away and it never makes mistakes or cherry picks things. It gets distracted. It's very focused, which that took a lot of work to get the AI on guardrails to just solve finite problems, because otherwise it makes stuff up or it does assumptions, or it's not foolproof until you make it foolproof, which is that's where the work is. The last 20% was like 6 months of work.
I'm sure it's always like that. Are you using a multiple of AI tools on the back end to facilitate all this, or have you kind of
In Amazon
standardized on one?
Bedrock, which pumps into we have an LLM in particular that is working for us. But if any reason we wanted to change it, you just pick a different language model and it'll learning
Yeah.
model and it'll just change. But we got one now that everything's working the way
Yeah.
we got all massive amount of prompts and learning, and
Yeah.
it's all working consistently. So we're not looking to change it unless it degrades.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of changing tools. I mean, listeners to this podcast know I'm a big fan of finding what works for you as a company and standardizing it and just make it better instead of playing oh, this new tool's out today. Let's change because we can. And that really makes no business sense when it comes down to it, doesn't?
You cut out a little there. Would you repeat that one thing?
Sorry, I said it makes no sense to change tools just because a shiny new tool is out from a business perspective.
Oh, yeah, because you get to the tool, and that was what was we realized with measurement platforms as well, is that it's the process of how you're going to use the
Yeah,
tool that matters.
yeah,
So I get victim of that where I change tools sometimes, but then the work to have success with the tool we were switching from, it might have been achieved if we would have done the process work.
yeah,
So that's where we're
yeah,
like, well, let's solve that process part for everyone so that as long as they
yeah,
just set up correctly, we'll know we've given them the insight. And then if they can't act on it, we can't help them. So
yeah,
yeah, that's often the case. Sometimes it's a tool issue. We see people hopscotch between marketing agencies at time. And sometimes it's the
mhm,
agency, but a lot of time it's the brand not having clear, defined goals of their marketing, or being able
yeah,
to stick to a KPI range that's realistic and a measurement period, giving the people time. Like you hire a marketing agency, top of the funnel, that's a 2 week to 4 week to could show results that you then might have to optimize. So you really need to give an agency months to really dial in a top of the funnel campaign. And
yeah,
people will give
yeah.
them budget, and then 3, 4 days later they're upset they're not, making money. And
Well,
it,
because a lot of companies don't clients don't understand that this is a long game, not a let's change the agency, fix it today, and get results tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. We all know, even from an ad perspective, it used to be it was like 7 to 8 touches on a company before people would even enact. And I think that's doubled and tripled at least in the last couple of years. I mean, I think it's somewhere around 25 or 30 touches now. And, that's why in traditional media, we see guys like Coca-Cola is a good example, your beer companies. That's why they run 10 ads on a football game because it's about brand awareness, right?
yeah, it is, and it's only getting more challenging, especially with like the LLMs and now AI search results. That getting your initial, because retargeting will work online pretty well. Most
Mm.
agencies,
Yep.
media buyers, retargeting you can set up. People already raised their hand a number of times, but getting that initial awareness and cementing it that's always been the work. But now it's real hard work, and it's the expertise that if an agency can do it, it'll set them apart, ideally.
Yeah, I think a lot of agencies just don't do it well, but I also think a lot of brands don't have it dialed in what they're looking for. And then you've
Mhm.
got those tough industries, the ones that are kind of on the borderline where you're going at alternative ad networks. And, there's some of those too, like Google and Meta don't take ads from everybody, even if it's legal, and that's a problem as well.
Yep. I mean, we have a well-known cannabis brand, Cheech and Chong. They're the most well-known
Yeah.
there is. And they had great success on X,
Hmm.
one of our case studies. And yep, they were banned from Meta. They figured it out was good. They went search and X and murder it. So
Yeah, I've got a client in the Ottawa Valley area who runs a chain of 5 independent adult stores, i.e., adult boutiques.
mhm.
And there's nothing illegal. But do you think I can run a Facebook ad or a Meta ad or a Google ad if my life depended on it? No way, no how. So you're forever searching for alternative ad networks. Um, Search you mentioned. And you mentioned AI search. Is traditional search going away? And is that going to impact attribution and all of that?
Well, it is impacting it some for sure. I think 6% of all searches now are AI zero click.
Okay.
So eventually, when OpenAI has their ad network and opens up their data, that's going to be a key integration for us to pull that stuff in. But it's going to be even more around finding that when you do earn that first click, that is going to be such an important signal now because it's going to be
Hmm.
more tough to get it. So it's going to be more valuable to get. Also means strategically that you'll have to almost skew your target based on the fact there's some signal loss. Let's say
Yeah.
that LLM is chat search ends up being 10% of all results. Because the chat results are good, the AI results, but they're not flawless. And my opinion is they're never going to be flawless. I don't think so. Because think about right now, like people worry, oh, AI is going to take over all jobs and everything. My opinion is that because it has all the information in the world that it synthesized doesn't mean anything. We already have all the information. There we're learning on all the information humanity already has, and there's still plenty of problems. So why
Yeah.
is some
I
AI bot going to be figure out all not have its own issues either similar to humanity or different? It's gonna. We
yeah.
don't always know them, but all that garbage on the like I see what like some of my 13-year-old watches boy on YouTube is just terrible. Like all that
I
I
know.
call it you puke.
Yeah,
Like all
I
that
hear you.
bad data
Um,
in.
yeah, I hear you. Did So we've talked a lot about Google and Meta. Uh, and from your attribution numbers you're seeing, is there still a lot of traffic from social out there or is that dying?
There's still a lot. Instagram, very
Yep.
popular. TikTok is more influencer in platform, not so
Hmm.
much. I mean, we track click-based results as well, but it's more
Yeah.
in platform results. Instagram still gets great traction. Instagram ads, still good volume. So there's
So,
not, it hasn't fallen off a cliff. Just because it's not always growing, then the media, oh no, it's not always growing. It's still like billions of clicks a day. It's not that it's gone, it's just not on there's only so much a channel can grow, in my opinion. There's only so many people on there it can get. So I don't think it's
I won't even
collapsing. I
tell.
do think it's plateaued though.
Yeah. I won't even tell you the number of stuff that my partner Tiz and I have seen on Instagram, especially in certain sectors. Pet stuff being one right off the top. It's everywhere, and neither one
Which
of us
one?
have pets, dogs, cats, pets.
Oh yeah.
Women's clothing on Instagram, men's clothing on Instagram. Interesting, eh? That's kind of besides social. And when we get into ad networks, we know Google and Meta are kind of king. In your attribution platform, what else does really well from ads? And I know it depends on your target market. I get that, but I'm talking generally.
X can do well,
Yep.
without a doubt. App Lovin has had some success, not maybe as
Hmm.
much as the press.
Hmm.
If it's a more like widespread the niche products I haven't seen as much success as the
Yep.
more widespread things that anyone
Yeah.
can buy. That's just, and I know I don't have a ton of data on that though. But then on non-paid, email still works. Good email. People still read them.
Yeah. I would say, you know, on non-paid platforms, email's still king.
Yep.
And I think to how I market and the lists I've run, and I've got a client right now in the retail game, in the jewelry store game, that I have their open rates at 80%. Can you believe that in a retail game at 80%?
No,
And
I
that's like gold.
never heard of that.
They run a boutique shop. They do very well. And their customer base is very engaged. And this isn't a small email list, it's 10,000 people. So before somebody says to me, "Oh, that's easy to do," not with 10,000, that's not. And
No.
that's like the average. And it's just crazy. Their customer base is so engaged. It's not even funny.
So
And
there, that ad strategy with that good of a newsletter should be heavy lead gen on social,
oh, it's very heavily gen. Yeah.
even though it's e-com, because yeah, that's how the lobster guy was. He had great emails. They weren't, I don't, you know what? I don't know what but he just had really entertaining emails.
Yeah. They're about to launch their e-com store at the end at October 1st. They don't have one right now. They've been in business a long time, and they're diving into the e-com game, and I expect the numbers to go off the chart just based on what that newsletter is doing.
Yeah,
And I'll
beautiful.
tell you why. For those who don't believe Scott and I know when I'm standing in line at the grocery store, you know what I'm scrolling? My email list to see what's going on sale. I'm actually because I am a real bad marketer, guys. I do not have any social media on my smartphone at all.
Me
I
either.
made I made
I don't either.
oh hey here. I made that decision. I got a new phone it's about 4.5 months ago. And when I got it, I decided I'm not doing this. I always hear from, people that I have my eyes on. I mean, I've got email on my phone, but I don't have any social. I just said, nope, I don't need this. Um, I work in it all day long. I like to be more present with people. So I decided to take it off. Now, that said, I have an Android smartphone and an iPad. There is social on the iPad, but you know what it is? Even if the iPad's in the bag, you're not reaching for your tablet the same way you reach for your phone. You know that. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
uh,
No, I made the same decision. I don't need to be buzzed with notifications or I just don't
and
need
then
them.
and then the ones from the shops that you use, translation, the wonderful folks at Timu, we won't talk about them today, but rule number one is you turn the notifications on the apps that you keep on off because they get stupid. So that's the other trick. Um, Speak of mobile, what now? I know the U.S. where you are is different. Canada's pretty well in line with the U.S. We know on mobile phones in the U.S. the iPhone is number one. I'm not sure what you're using. Are you using an iPhone or an Android first?
Android
Okay. Which one? Can I ask?
Galaxy Flip 5.
Oh, you're on the Galaxy Fold. Oh, awesome. Love it. Love
I
it.
just like how it fits in I like the form factor. Like I always like the motor. I used to work for Motorola when the Razor came out.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow.
So I still miss
Yeah.
the Razor sleek in the
Ye-
pocket.
Yeah.
That's why because I'm just phone, text, and web on it. So and Slack maybe. So I don't need anything. I just want something
Mhm.
small and light. And I don't like Apple. Uh,
You're,
it
yeah,
started.
but
I'm just not a
there's
big
still
Apple guy.
there's still the number one tablet out there, whether you want to admit it or not. The Galaxy Tab's pretty close behind, but the reason I asked the question, I'm on a Pixel 9 Pro, have been for a number of months. My phone before that was a 7. My phone before that was a 6A, and my phone before that was a 4A. So does that tell you? And one reason I went that route is the Pixel cameras are really good, and Gemini interfaces really well with the Pixel being a Google product, right? So it's just, for me, it makes sense. The reason I mention that is in the US, though, the iPhone is the number one smartphone, not in Europe, but in the US, certainly. Does that change? Do you see that a lot in attribution when you're saying, does this come from a mobile and what type of device, or do you not drill it down that far?
We don't throw it down that far. because there's
Okay.
enough action to take. There's a lot.
Yep.
I have to get reined back by the team on the complexity because we have more and more data. But I'm like, we got to just get
I
them
know.
what they need.
I know.
Budget decisions. So there is probably sometimes a case to be made that things would convert better or worse on different devices,
Hmm.
but we have enough insight and outcomes we're already driving without that we have it. We've always had it. We just don't, it hasn't been valuable
Yeah.
enough to throw in there. We haven't had a,
Now, what I'll ask you is mobile traffic versus desktop, laptop traffic. What's the number right now? Do you know?
I
Ballpark?
don't, we
You don't
offhand, I
throw
think
it?
mobile is greater than desktop.
Of
It
course.
skews by age. Younger is have it way more mobile,
Yeah.
but we don't usually analyze it.
But I'll give you an example of a family I know, my partner's family. She's an office admin for a major insurance broker in the Toronto area. Her father's 86 years old and retired. Her mom is 79. And do you know what they use? They use an iPad at the house. They do not have a PC in their house. They have two iPads. And I said to her recently, we were just kind of chatting. I said, did you ever think to get a laptop in the house? And she said, honestly, Rob, I don't need one at home. I got one at the office.
Hmm.
And we're seeing more and more of that where families are going to iPads, Galaxy tablets, if you prefer an Android, right? Um, and mobile phones. I know, like, for example, when I shop, I'm probably shopping on my phone. If I'm shopping Amazon, I'm not logging into the website. I'm logging into the app because it's in my hand and I'm just doing it. I can remember earlier this week, my mom called me. She's away at the cottage north of Montreal. And she was like, can you order 3 Lego sets for your cousin's kids and do it now? And I'm like, sure. And I just pumped away at the phone and did it and got it done because it's in my hand. I mean, that's the beauty of the phone. It's like right here, right? It's like in your hand, and that's where I think mobile has become so easy. And I think we're seeing this a lot with the younger generation. Like my son is 33, and I'll tell you, unless it's game playing or research for work, he's probably doing it on his phone. He's not doing it on the PC, on the laptop, yes, right?
That's true. Yeah, the kids don't sit in front of laptops. I mean, I have three, and they all have Lenovo laptops, and that's for schoolwork. They say,
Yeah.
oh, it's schoolwork time. I'll get out my laptop." But otherwise, they're almost never on it.
Yeah.
They're on the phone
And
or
I
they're
would
playing
bet,
games on Xbox.
and I would bet your seniors don't either because your seniors don't have most of them are not in the class of my mom who's always used the PC. Most of them are sitting on iPads or Chromebooks anyway. They're not sitting on PCs because they don't need one anymore. So
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
a big
demographic has
shift here.
changed. Yeah. So it's really people like you and I who work all day and sit on Windows laptops or a MacBook, but I'm not getting a MacBook. That's not happening, right?
I'm not, no plans ever.
But but you laugh about that. And I started on an Apple II Plus, so we won't even have that discussion, right? I've been there. Any other tips around marketing attribution for a big business that is concerned about it? Besides picking up phone and calling you.
Besides wicked reports, oh,
Yeah,
well, I'd say
besides
get a
okay.
measurement strategy and make sure you align your team, meaning the stakeholder with the budget plus the marketing team, on not just the KPIs, but the measurement period and the measurement process.
Yep.
Because you otherwise, if you have say the brand owner and they're putting in the budget, if they're going to look at Google Analytics 4 to determine how you're doing on Meta, you need to know that and steer them away from that because they'll see all this
Mhm.
direct sales that probably direct means it had to come from somewhere else first. No one just
Yep.
woke up and typed in the domain. You got to getting alignment on that would be something I would highly recommend. That's not really tool specific. The other thing would
I would-
be, you need a strategy around new customer acquisition because what you're seeing in the platforms is all customer acquisition, which is going to be heavily skewed by repeat buyers on email that suddenly the ad pixel picks up. And
yeah,
that may or may not have anything to do with the ad. And so for new customers, you need to know that you're measuring them accurately more than anything else, because that's where you'll be misguided and will be, geez, the numbers look good. Why aren't we growing? And it's like, oh, it's all the repeat buyers is all that's happening.
yeah, yeah.
It's fairly
And
wrong.
to get in on Wicked Reports, you say your typical business is 3 million plus, right? That's kind of where you
Yep, 3
sit.
to 30 million is the sweet spot.
What is and I take it the cost changes depending on the volume.
Yep.
Is that fair or
Yeah, we got base low price be $500 a month, go up
okay?
to 5 grand a month in some cases.
Do you have a
So
setup fee on top of that or no?
we do not. Setups included. We get raving reviews from the support team because the setup process is getting you to a data-driven decision, not, oh, hey, look,
Yeah,
your data is accurate. We've
yeah,
which will usually often expose a measurement strategy gap, which is fine because you're a marketer, you're not
yeah,
worried about it. So then already have that embedded in the tool and in our S. We give you SOPs so you can just
yeah,
follow it rather than
yeah,
just be another tool with data that you're not using because we know
yeah,
you're going to churn if that's the case with us. The whole point of it is to use our data. So we're very invested in you getting value out of the data. That's our,
yeah.
we can hang
And
our hat.
how easy is the setup fee? The setup process, sorry.
So if you are using a common CRM and shopping cart, it's same day you sign up. You can click some things and integrate some things and you're good to go. And then the calls with our team can be verifying you put tracking on the ads and then getting into how to use the product.
Yeah,
If you have a custom solution or someone says, "Hey, what's your marketing strategy?" and it's like a 5 minute monologue, that's fine. That just might need more setup time because you want to get in and understand all the different ways
yeah,
to view the data. We'll set up the different views to give you what you need.
yeah. And I take it with common shopping carts, we're talking easily Shopify and Woo if you go that route, I would assume.
Shopify and Woo are 1 minute to set
Yeah.
up.
And Shopify is still the number one shopping cart out there, despite what WordPress people want to believe. I hate to tell
Yes.
them, like,
Woo has a lot. Woo has a
yeah,
lot of really small stores that are,
yeah, but not
side
stores
hustles, side hustle
generating that.
stores. Nothing wrong
I
with
have
that,
a,
but that's what they are. A lot of
yeah,
side hustles. Woo has some
uh,
decent sized stores though, for sure. We've got some, we get probably almost 10% of our customers are Woo and they're, seven figure
I have
eight businesses.
I have a client selling custom car parts, and he's generating 20K US a day on Woo. So
Yeah.
he's up there. But that's I agree with you. That's not in the majority. Most of the big stores are on Shopify, and that's just the reality. Also Canadian, by the way, for those who don't
Mhm.
know. So that's good. And then are you guys locked into like 1 year or 6 months, or is it month by month?
Uh, we do month to month. We're moving to quarterly at the end of
Good.
Q3 because in 90 days, you should have value from us more than what you paid us. So it aligns perfectly with
Yeah.
because we want you to have a couple of cold traffic conversion cycles to get the big ahas. And that
Yes.
usually happens day 45 because because of how your customers act, not because of anything with the data.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
moving towards a quarterly cycle, but right now it's month to month. We do have annuals, then we give you a discount if you go annual. We certainly get a bunch of people on annual as well. So, but that's not the
No.
requirement.
No. And where can people find out more about Wicked Reports, please?
WickedReports.com is the best spot. Or you can track me down on LinkedIn. I got a long name, but Wicked Reports Scott will find me in a search. I can connect with you
No.
there as well.
No. No. And reach out to Scott. He's like really knowledgeable and knows what he's doing, and you need to really know where your numbers are. Like this is the whole thing about Wicked Reports. It demystifies where your marketing is coming from. And if you don't know your numbers, as I always say on the show, you're shooting at a dartboard with a blindfold on. You don't have any clue. And that's the big deal, right, Scott?
It is. I mean, it's not going to go well blindfold.
No, not at all. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Much
Thanks for having
appreciated.
me. It was fun. Take
Thank you,
care.
Scott. Have a bye. This podcast has been brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital marketing concierge to help the business owner put all his pieces together, whether it's email marketing, WordPress security, WordPress design and development, PPC, and more. Text Stunning Digital Marketing for all your digital marketing needs today. Very special thank you to Scott for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.